Welcome back to Chart Wizard Trading, where today we're going to go over silver and why I am bullish on silver. All goes back. We're going to start way back here in 2011 when silver was 50 cents-ish, round in a few pennies there. But there's a lot of actually good rules to be learned from this whole structure. Okay. I mean, if we look since essentially 2013, okay, so for a decade and a little bit of change, silver's been pretty boring. I mean, all it's really done is go sideways in this range right here for a decade. Got a little poke below there. But other than that, it's just been sideways in this range. So what reason would I have to be bullish on silver? That's where the Elliott Wave theory comes in, folks. We talk about these counts, the Elliott Wave theory in general, learning how to do this yourself, collaborating with the community in the Discord, which you can join by signing up at wavecounts.com. There's a free option. You can chat with others in the general chat for free. You get free access, early access to videos just like this one. You get them before the general public does. Otherwise, you get a free trial, $25 a month, and you get access to everything. Exclusive content. Most of my content is exclusive. You'll never see it unless you're in the club. But let's talk about silver. Down from this high right here. One down, two up, white count right here. And then we got 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, all consolidating, especially, so this is what I'd like to see. We got this 1, 2, 1, 2. That doesn't make me nervous. This did not break a new low, and we got another 2. That makes me happy. Okay, I'm happy with that setup. I don't generally like personally, from a probability perspective, when the third one makes a new low. That gets me really nervous. But it didn't. All right, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. Okay, nice extended impulse. First triangle of the day here. Right here in this orange 4, this triangle is called a barrier triangle. Okay, where we got A, B, and D generally stop in the same price area. Okay, there's no strict definition on how far D and B have to be apart here. It's just generally in the same price range. Okay. But A, C, and E have to contract. Right, so the B and D create a barrier which will later be broken, which this one was. Okay, and triangles always precede or are the final wave of a degree. But they always precede the final actionary wave. In this case, the orange count, right? The orange count. I'll put the waves up on it. This triangle preceded the final actionary wave for the orange count. Or, as we'll get to later when we have another triangle, is the final actionary wave. Okay. Some really nice alternation here. Okay, so here in the white count here. So this 2 is sharp, something in the zigzag family here, and this 4 we got a little flat. Right? If we look at the yellow one, we got flat, and then the yellow 4 is sharp, zigzag. Right? The orange 2 sharp, and the orange 4 sideways triangle here that comes close to making a new low, but doesn't. Right? But close is what counts as far as alternation goes. Close or almost makes a new extreme. That's what you're looking for alternation. Whereas in the sharp one, you shouldn't really come close to making a new low before the pattern completes. Okay. And then your last little 5. So you got a nice impulse there for the A, followed by a triangle B wave. This is another type of triangle. This is just a contracting triangle. A, B, C, D, E, complex B wave. The rest of them are zigzags. Right? What the book also tells us is the price action following the triangle. Right? So like I said here, the price action following or whatever happens after a triangle is just precedes the final actionary wave of a degree. So in this case, it's the red count. All right, the red thing here, we got the B wave triangle, which will immediately precede the final actionary wave. And you have kind of two options with triangles that are typical. All right, the price action following a triangle. You either get very quick and sharp, like this C wave here, very quick, short, and sharp, or very long and extended. Okay, in comparison. All of these were sharp and quick, right? This one following it, real quick, done. Okay, not really grossly overextended or anything. Well shorter than what the third wave of that degree was. Okay, this C wave, real short in stature compared to the long A wave, which gives you another form of alternation here. A form of alternation in corrective waves. So what alternation in corrective waves says is it's a guideline, not a rule. Okay, but there's generally three guidelines for corrections. It either channels contained within a channel, or it is expressing alternation. Okay, or A to C is 1-to-1. Usually you'll get one or two of those, but you won't get all three. Right? In this case, we got two of those. One of being alternation, meaning that one between A and C will be very intricately subdivided and complex. In this case, the A wave. Usually it's the C wave, but it doesn't have to be. It could be either or. So in this case, it's the A wave that is very intricately subdivided and complex, whereas the C wave is just a quick, fast 5. Okay, that is the guideline of alternation for a correction. All right, and it's also channeled. Okay, I can draw the channel to show you what I mean, but by the naked eye, you can tell that it is, in fact, channeled. Right? It would say that the C wave would remain within the confines of the lower boundary of this channel, and it clearly does. That's the other guideline. So in this case, we got two of the guidelines for a corrective wave: channeling and alternation. Okay, following up that big long correction, which took a while. Like, say, wait, this impulse ended in 2011, and that correction didn't end until 2020. So we're talking a 9-year zigzag. And no wonder nobody's interested in silver, which is actually a great sentiment indicator why you should be interested in it. But I digress. We follow that up with the reaction off of that low with an impulse. An extended third wave up to a 1. And then another long and drawn out correction. This one a lot more complex. Okay, this is what's called, okay, so here is the correction right here, this wave, this light green one. This is what's called a double 3. Okay, and you can combine two simple patterns is what you can do in a double 3. Simple being the key word. You cannot combine combination patterns. You can combine simple patterns. In this case, we're combining a flat, okay, and a triangle. That's what we're combining, those two patterns. Flat W and triangle Y. X can be anything. X can be a combination if it wants to. In this case, it's just a simple zigzag, but it can be a combination. An X wave can. W cannot, Y cannot. Have to be simple. Okay, very clear, outlined in the book. It says those words, simple corrections. I've said this many times in my channel. That's what you see. Too many counts out there of people combining combinations. I'm telling you right now, I've been doing this a long time. You cannot combine a combination with another combination. I don't care what you say. There is absolutely nothing you can say to convince me. The book is extremely clear when it comes to combinations. Okay? You cannot combine them. It is a rule. You cannot combine combinations. And in this case, we don't. We have a simple flat and a triangle, a simple triangle. Okay? This, well, I'll get to the triangle in a second here. But how this subdivides, we have a 3-3-5 flat. Okay, so zigzag down in A. Okay, I'll put the waves on so you can see it. That's the flat pattern right there, A, B, C. Okay, expanded flat. Then we have a zigzag in an A. We have a double zigzag in a B, which that's where you're allowed to get a combination, is in the middle of something. Okay, a combination pattern, any kind of combination. It doesn't matter if it's a combination zigzag or a combination flat. Okay, or sideways, or double 3 is a combination flat. Okay. A combination itself can only be the middle of something, i.e. the B wave or an X wave, okay, or the entirety of something. It can be the entirety of a wave 2, such as this case, right? We have, I'll highlight it again, WXY is the wave 2. It is the entirety of the wave 2, the whole thing. It's allowed to do that. It could be the entirety of a fourth wave. No problem with that. Or it can be the middle of something. It can be a B wave or an X wave. A component of a simple pattern, it can be, right? So an A wave can be a combination. That's it. Just A waves and B waves and X waves. That's it. It's the only thing that is a component of something that can be a combination. C waves are always 5. I'm not talking about a C wave in a triangle. They actually should, now that we're talking about this, they should label triangles differently. They should not be A, B, C, D, E. But I don't get to make those decisions. Okay, that has to be the entire Elliott Wave community that comes together and decides to change the labeling on that. But until then, that's how you label them. It's confusing because you say C wave has to be 5. Well, that's what we're talking about in reference to a flat or a zigzag. Okay, a simple pattern. A C wave within a triangle can only be a zigzag, okay, or zigzag family. Anyway, and a zigzag or a flat, simple zigzag, simple flat, C can only be 5 waves. And that's what we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, diagonal, all zigzags. Zigzag, 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 zigzag. And I subdivided the last portion of the zigzag. Okay, this is the C wave of the zigzag, which I've subdivided here. Again, expressing alternation between the A and the C. Intricately subdivided, whereas the first one's fast and simple. And then we continue on. Zigzag for X and triangle for the Y wave. Containing one and only one complex subwave that is a double zigzag. You could see the double zigzags right there. Okay, you could see both of the zigzags. So there's one of them, there's the other one. And a combination zigzag, same with the double 3 that we're seeing the bigger thing here, right? W has to be a simple zigzag, Y has to be a simple zigzag, not a combination, a simple one. And you can combine 2 of those together with an X wave, which can be anything it wants to be, except 5. Any corrective pattern here in the middle with the X, in this case it's a flat. Okay. combining two zigzags together to make one. Very common for the C wave of a triangle to be the complex wave. Okay. And that's all she wrote, mama. Okay. That ended it. WX triangle Y, the final component of a combination. You can call this one of two. It is one of two. I'm going to call it a running triangle. Okay. Because the D doesn't make a new high, right? The B does. That's called a running triangle, and the rest of everything contracts. So you got three different types of triangles in all of this price action. We go back here. We have a barrier triangle, right? Three types of triangles, by the way. Barrier triangles, contracting triangles, and expanding triangles. Okay, a barrier triangle, as we said, B and D make a barrier, which will later be broken. Contracting triangle, all waves contract together. An expanding triangle, I don't have an example of on this chart, but it would expand. It would be like this. If I get my marker out, A, B, C, D, E, like that, and it looks like a megaphone. Okay, that would be an expanding triangle. I don't have an example of those, and they're rare. So you may live your whole life and never see an example of one. However, we have this type of triangle too, which is a contracting triangle, but it is a variation of a contracting triangle called a running triangle, where B exceeds the start of A, which is perfectly legal. It's allowed to do that. Okay, and it's a running triangle. In fact, running triangles are the most, or contracting triangles are the most common, but I see plenty of running triangles as well. Okay. They don't happen incredibly often, but I see plenty of them. Anyway, that's it. Wave 2. So we have a white wave here, 2, and then we're starting to impulse here, guys. So that means we're in this third wave. Let me turn the waves on. This third wave right here, this whole thing going all the way up to wherever it goes. This is not a price target, guys. I don't even know why that line's there. This is not a price target. This is a label floating in space somewhere, waiting to be placed in just reasonably placeable spots. That's it. That's all it is. Don't say that Gup said that that's where it's going. I did not. Just analyzing a chart. That's all I'm doing. Okay, and labels are floating in space. So off of that triangle, all right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up to a 1. 3 waves back to a 2. 5 waves up to, well, I got to go smaller. Let's go to a smaller time frame. I'm just going to go all the way down to the hourly. All right, there's the subdivision of this one here. This one came down, hit the fourth wave of the fifth, indicating that likely this was an extended wave within the wave one. This is actually probably the second wave of the fifth, if this is going to be an extension. All right, so you'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with an extended fifth wave. That's why that guideline was hit. Okay, kind of hard to pick out in the moment, but in the end, that is what it was. That's what the guideline's telling us. Okay, so here again, expressing alternation in this zigzag here. This one, let me make the wave so you could see it. This zigzag, second wave, expressing alternation where the A was quick. Little triangle B, and an intricately subdivided and elongated C wave. Alternation, friends. Off of that low, 5 up with an extended third. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. Just like that. Has to be that, even though none of these waves overlap, because wave 3 can't be the shortest. So we can't say, I'm going to use my marker for instance. Okay, we can't say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because that would leave wave 3 the shortest wave, which is not legal. So this actually makes it easy on us that we know it's the third wave that's extended. Otherwise, you might not know if you could change these labels around. We have the correct number of waves, right? We count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is the same as 5, right? And none of them overlap. So in theory, you could, label them however you wanted, except you can't pick a rule. So in this case, it made it easy on us that this third wave is extended. And we kind of have two guidelines here. To go off of to find a bottom. All right, so we had this guideline here, boom, which is a previous fourth, but this is also previous fourth. That's what you get with extended waves, is a secondary guideline, right? Because the guideline is the previous fourth. Well, they're both previous fourths, right? And as we see, the market stopped at that guideline, right? And then reacted. Very tricky. In 5 waves. And I actually had a video about this to my subscribers when we saw this bottom. And we used this as a tradable reaction that unfortunately got stopped right here. Okay. It's okay. That's why risk management exists. All right, but now we're ready to hit this again. Your guideline then is going to be down here. Somewhere around $28. The guideline is actually this whole price range, okay? But most commonly near the terminus. It can go past it, okay? There's nothing saying that it can't go past it a little bit, but somewhere near the terminus of the previous fourth wave, okay? So we have a little flat here, as we could see in the 2, and we have a zigzag 4, again, expressing alternation, okay? We have a zigzag 2 and a sideways 4 here. Again, expressing alternation. It's just a beautiful impulse, right? It's exactly what we want to see. And corrective chop on the way down. Then that I have labeled zigzag, okay, because that very much looks like a triangle B wave to me. So I have a zigzag, W. So I'm doing a combination pattern, 2 simple patterns, simple zigzag, and then expecting a simple zigzag, right? So ABC down W, and then 3, 3, 5, that was the tricky 5 that fooled us a little bit, in a running flat. Kind of rare, but it is legal. They do happen, okay? In an X wave, so running flat X wave. Remember, X can be anything it wants to except for 5. And then expecting a simple zigzag down. So 5, 3, 5, which this one will likely give us channeling, okay? Because you want to meet a guideline, right? So we had in that first zigzag, so if we stick a channel on this, right? This first zigzag, we have alternation as a guideline, okay? And the second one is likely going to give us channeling as a guideline, and possibly even 1-to-1. I don't know, we'll see. Let's measure this out and see what it looks like. Where's our 1-to-1? Swagging it here, but I'm close. So 1-1 is pretty much right at the guideline. We might get 2 guidelines on this one. Okay, you'll get 1 to 2 guidelines per corrective pattern. All right, this one likely channels 2. Well, it might not. We'll see. Let me check it out. Oh, look at that. That one channels as well. We just kind of give a little baby underthrow to the channel, and we're right back out of it. Okay, so we got 2 guidelines on that one too. So your first one down gave us channeling and alternation, and this one looks most likely to give us channeling and 1-to-1. Okay, which is exactly what you want to see. Beautiful impulse with alternation meeting guidelines. Okay, beautiful double combination meeting guidelines and alternating guidelines. That's yet another form of alternation. Is you have 2 zigzags giving us different types of guidelines that it's meeting, and sharing one between channeling, potentially, right? We got to see it actually happen and complete. Okay. And then this WXY as a whole should also give us some sort of guideline, right? We have the channel to work with. Looks like it's not going to hold the channel. That's okay. It's just a guideline. Okay. Then we have our 1-to-1, so we can check that. Not going to make that one either. And then the only thing left then we have is alternation. Okay. So alternation would be, so this one's kind of quick, right? You got ABC done, right? And this one is giving you a more equally subdivided zigzag. ABC equally subdivided alternation. Okay, alternation between the Y and the W, which should meet a guideline, right? And that would be a very confident setup. Should you decide that you agree with this analysis. Okay? Nothing I do is financial advice. I'm just analyzing a chart and I'm sharing it with you. You decide what you want to do. But that's what we have for Silva. Chew on that over the next few days. See what you think. Hit that like button. Smash that notification bell. Have a good one. And we'll see you next time.